Good morning, everyone. It's April the 14th, 2024. Today I wanted to talk a little bit more on the shelters and the housing. And I wanted to start off with something that I saw on the news this morning, on the national news, that certainly caught my attention. This is coming out of Quebec right now, and this is on the women's shelters in Quebec that are apparently, they're definitely overflowing with the demand. Is really overwhelming on them right now. They've been trying to double up their capacity and still cannot keep up with it. And they're having to turn a lot of women away, from what I'm understanding at this point. And a lot of it is all the things that's happening in society, that why people are losing their homes, their affordability. And certainly marriages are breaking up, and especially older marriages like mine broke up. And it's putting a huge demand. And the ones where they call rental evictions, now that's another big one that's also hitting. And I'm seeing that now coming up even more, where landlords, well, they've either sold a building and they want to have to evict all the tenants, or they're moving in themselves, or saying they're moving in themselves, or having a relative moving in and evicting people. But what they do is they re-renovate the apartment and rent it out for a much higher price. And so it's affordability is just being pushed right out the door. So it's a really big, huge problem that we've got here. And it's just getting worse. And of course, I also saw where they also said on TV that we need 1.3 million homes by 2030. And that's like, another 6 years away before we might even meet up with most of the demand, if we can get there, for housing. And then how many more people are going to be out on the streets? Are we really going to be making it? And then, of course, right now, there is a spat with the federal budget coming out. They're later this week, and they've been leaking a lot of things on housing on it. And everyone's just horrified. A lot of people are. They don't think it's going to work. And I've looked at some of the experts, what they're saying, and other experts are saying certainly that this is going to definitely work with the measures that the federal government is starting to take on even putting out loans, and with low interest loans for people, changing the rules completely around. And it certainly looks a lot better than what some of the other parties, when they don't even have a solid plan. At least we're getting a solid plan out, and they're hoping to have even more than that by 2031. But again, it's long term. But they're also putting out money towards short-term projects as well, such as retrofitting buildings and things like that. And they have their rules and regulations, and some of the provinces are, oh, I don't like that idea. And I'm not sure exactly what Quebec is doing. I know I heard some kind of report that Quebec was really pleased with it, and they were going ahead with it. So this was a piece of good news too, because I certainly saw this from the women's shelters from Quebec this morning. So it's a matter of what they didn't like was the fact that they're going into more apartment buildings and building affordable housing through apartments and smaller rentals, not houses. So everybody's, well, there's nothing in the budget now for building houses for people. Well, how did we do it when we were young? I can tell you exactly how we did it. When we were young, we got out of school, we tried to get a job, we got our first apartment. Back then, it was certainly more affordable housing within our budgets, mind you. But then we get a second bank account. Of course, we didn't have all the things that the government has today, where we can RSPs and different things like that, where we can actually store money or use money for an RSP, or I forget what it's called, but I think there's something you can actually put in for housing to go for a down payment on a house. But back in the old days, we just got a second bank account, and every so much we put so much in that bank account towards a down payment for us to get a house at the time. So that was really a good thing. And then we had a reasonable down payment to put on a house, and it goes something like this. I remember back in 1975 when I started first working as a security guard, and back then the minimum wage was only $1.25 an hour. And I had spotted this beautiful suede jacket with the long tassels on it, and it was something that I absolutely fell in love with. So that's exactly what I did. Like, I wasn't saving for a house at that particular point, but that jacket was $75. And if you're only making a minimum wage of $1.25, that's not a lot. So what I did was I put the money away for it each month, and then I built up, was able to afford that jacket. So I wore that jacket very proudly, and it was something that I bought myself. Nobody else bought it for me. It wasn't a freebie. I worked towards getting that. Tried to get overtime hours, whatever I could, to work towards getting that jacket. And then, of course, after I got married and started having kids, well, what happened to that slim waistline that I used to wear that jacket on? Well, it kind of went slip-sliding away into oblivion, certainly after having the 5 kids. But the strange thing about it was I couldn't give up that jacket. I always hung it in my closet. And every time I had a hardship, and I go through, and this is what my ethics were built on, was you have to work for what you get. And that jacket hanging in my closet was an absolute reminder of how hard I had to work to get something at that point. And so this is a work ethic that I learned. And what I'm seeing a lot of the kids today is the parents are handing out things left, right, and center without the children working for it and really appreciating what they're getting. And it's not just the parents, and the welfare and everything else is, oh, it's free, we don't have to go out and work, and stuff like that. And this was brought up many years ago on the welfare system, that, and I know there was a big talk about it because between the politicians and the people were arguing about it, because it was supposed to be a stopgap measure between jobs, and we were finding out that generations after generations of people are living on welfare and not getting out into the workforce as well. So I just kind of wanted to bring up some of the old arguments that I remember hearing, but I thought it was well worth bringing up too, just how hard I worked to get that jacket and how proud I was to wear that jacket when I finally got it. It meant so much to me that I kept it in my closet for years as a reminder that you have to work to get where you want. But there are different ways, and like the government's trying to do different things to try and get people help. So, and it worries me now because we've got an election coming up maybe next year, and every time the government changes, oh, we don't like what the previous government did, so they change it. And, even with governments being in 4 years, it doesn't necessarily give whatever they've planned a chance to work. So that has me very interested. I'm watching to see what does happen in our next big federal election for certain. But I do know that I think what they're doing is right, because we had to work for what we wanted. Yes, some of us were able to get good government jobs. We knew we had to go to school to get a diploma to work. I know it's getting difficult for the young people today. I've heard that last week, that a lot of young people can't get jobs as well. So we're in hard times, but I think the best way is to work together, and I'm seeing more and more people. I'm seeing an army now. Every day something's coming out on the homeless or the housing or whatever. So it's finally got us the attention, and we've got an army finally working on the problem. So I'm going to kind of leave it there for today. It's getting a little long, but I just wanted to bring that up to you for today, that I'm seeing positive things and first steps definitely being made. So have a good day, and we shall talk to you again soon. Be safe, and definitely watch your surroundings. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon, and bye-bye.